Okay, so we're here today to talk about goals, and I'm going to try and cover a lot of content. I'm going to try and give you as many practical pieces as I possibly can, and there's just such a fascinating topic for me, so it's possible that this might need to be broken up into two videos, so I hope you get a chance to check out both and that you find something really valuable in here. Hey, this is Dr. Andy with AG Thrive. I'm here to help you grow the life you want. And to help you identify the patterns, the behaviors, the areas where you're getting stuck, and provide you with the best tools, strategies, support, and accountability to help you really make progress in the areas of life that are most significant and to grow an extraordinary life and to thrive. So for today, I'm here to offer you some specific tools on how to set goals that are actually have staying power, that are going to be focused on the things that matter most to you, and kind of why resolutions don't work and how to set goals that actually do work and kind of the difference. There's, some nuances that I hope to get into that are going to be really helpful. I want to make this information super practical, and ideally that you walk away from this to have some extra kind of strategies or tools in your tool belt to really help you to make progress and to grow the year you want. So, I'm going to do a couple of videos here on how to really create an intentional year. And if you add up, years of creating intentional years and growth, that leads to growing the life you want. So where I want to start off with is to kind of looking at, the science of goal setting. There's a few different ideas of, what's the most effective ways to set goals. And there's even a little bit debate, some people, whether or not setting goals versus standards versus systems, what works best. And as is the case in all of life, there is no one way of doing things. It's all about finding the best practices that work best for you. But in the science of goal setting, we know that when you write down your goals, you're way more likely to actually follow through and achieve your goals. I think that the research shows anywhere from 20 to 60% more likely to achieve goals when you write them down. So please, I know it's inconvenient. I know it seems like just holding it in your head or even typing it on your phone, is good enough. But if research supports it, why not just take the time to write it down? And there is actually some neuroscience behind that. It's not just an old school way of thinking. When you write things down, it engages a different layer of the brain that helps to encode that kind of memory to create more mindfulness, more attention to that goal. All right, so I've written down a few things here now that I really want to highlight as being essential to being a really awesome, extraordinary kind of goal setter and achiever. So, there actually is a science of goal setting. There's a science of just about everything now. And in the science of goal setting, here's some of the gold standards. Here's some of the research. Here's some of the things that anecdotally in my own practice, that I've really noticed that are either really important to include, to implement. So anyways, here's some of the concepts, starting off with the idea of the 10x goals, right? So they say when you set a goal, you really want to, whatever your goal is for the month, for the year, and I think this applies more for long-term goals, for long-term vision, if you're thinking a year or 3 year or 5 years out, and you do want to have plans for all of those things if you want to grow the life you want and live an extraordinary life. But for those long-term visions, you really want to 10x everything that you're thinking about. If I want to, make a certain amount of money, 10x that number. If I want to have a certain level of happiness, 10x that number. And the reason why is because it's much easier for you to put in the energy, effort, and the persistence to go after a 10x type of goal than it is to go after something that doesn't necessarily really excite you. So plus, with the 10x concept, you're 10xing your goal number, but you also want to 10x the level of effort and energy that you're putting into getting the goal. And when you put that combination in, that is an absolutely superior and kind of lethal combination. So, all right, SMART goals. This has kind of been around for a long time, but the acronym is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. So I can certainly give you more in-depth kind of examples of what these mean, maybe in some type of follow-up. But specific, just it's pretty clear. You need to get really, really clear on what it is that you're going after. When you give the brain a really vague kind of goal to go after, it's just unlikely that it's too confusing, too ambiguous. But when you give a really clear destination, the brain loves like solving puzzles. And so when you give it a GPS coordinates that are so specific, it's much easier to get there. Measurable, you have to have some kind of method of measurement. And some things that can be a little more challenging. You say you want to be more happy, you want to be a better husband, just figure out what that means, what that looks like, and figure out some way to be able to consistently measure whether or not you're heading in the right direction, whether or not you're making progress, you're backsliding, things like that. Attainable, hey, the eternal optimist in me believes everything's attainable. So, go after whatever it is, but you have to believe it's attainable. Your mindset and your self-image and how that's related to whether or not you're going to achieve your goals. There's absolutely a huge connection between those. So, and I think, going back to the 10X goals just real quick, that tends to really kind of illustrate or show where there might be some holes or chinks kind of in your, the beliefs or the mindset that you need to attain your goals. And when you set huge goals, just break them down into small chunks. So relevant, it has to be important to you. You have to tie in your goals to your core values, your most significant priorities, into your core relationships. If you make it something that's really intrinsically rewarding and motivating, that's where you're going to really see that you stick with the persistence and the long-term commitment and the work that needs to be done to really achieve big, amazing, awesome goals. So, and then time bound, create time limits. If you don't have a time limit, it's just the likelihood that you're going to put things off or procrastinate just, increases exponentially.